This will be my longest and most scientific video to date. I'll be covering 3 topics regarding the picture profiles of Sony mirrorless cameras. So 1. Which is the best picture profile to use in which situation? 2. How do you best expose for each picture profile? 3. My custom settings for each picture profile. If you're not familiar with picture profiles are camera settings that allow you to shoot in a flatter color. That in turn gives you better flexibility when color grading and a wider dynamic range. So if you haven't already started shooting with a picture profile, I would totally recommend you to do so, but the big question is, which? Hey guys, what's up? My name is Bernard and welcome to the channel. So for today's video, I'll be testing out a few of the popular picture profiles from Sony, like the Cine 4, the HLG 3, and the S-Log 2 to compare them. So I've been filming in the Cine 4 picture profile for the past 2 years and I love it. However, recently I started wondering whether I was missing out by not trying out the other picture profiles. So the main objective of this test is to find out if there were any added benefits or inconveniences if I were to shoot in the other picture profiles. I've taken a few sample shots in various real-world situations to see if a particular picture profile would fare better in a particular situation. So here's the first scenario, a very common shooting situation, filming under the midday sun. In my personal opinion, I think that the HLG 3 and S-Log 2 deals with the highlights better and has this dreamy cinematic look, while the Cine 4 has this sharper and unnatural look. My first choice will be the HLG 3 as it is easier to deal with for shooting and color grading. The next 2 situations is probably everyone's favorite shooting scenario, golden hour. First, we have shooting away from the sun. In this situation, I find that with the soft highlights and decently lit shadows, HLG 3 will be my go-to picture profile. When it comes to shooting into the sun, the contrast between highlights and shadows is much higher. Therefore, I will go with S-Log 2 as my preferred picture profile and HLG 3 as my second choice. The next scenario is a low light situation, and I actually like how the Cine 4 picture profile performed. The image seems brighter and cleaner. My second choice will be HLG 3. The fourth scenario is a high contrast scene. To decently expose the shadows and not have terribly blown out highlights, my top choice is the S-Log 2 and my second choice will be the HLG 3. The last scenario will be controlled lighting. I personally will go with the HLG 3 as I have total control over the lighting and it's easier to work with in post-production. Cine 4 will be my second choice. Moving on to the second topic of this video, how to properly expose for each picture profile. In this test, I shot the same scene with multiple exposures. I found that exposing to the right as much as possible without blowing out your highlights is the best way to retain colors in your highlights and get the most details out of your shadows while keeping the noise levels low. This theory remains consistent throughout the 3 different picture profiles as you can see in the sample footage that I have shot. Of course, there are times where you shouldn't follow this rule, and that is if your main subject is in the shadows. In such a situation, you will want to expose for your subject and blow out the highlights. To try and save some highlights, you can consider using a picture profile with a wider dynamic range like the S-Log 2. With that said, the extent you can push the exposure is based on the picture profile you use. Cine 4 has a maximum output potential of 109. Therefore, to prevent my highlights from clipping, I will set my zebra at 104 to give me a slight buffer, and keep increasing the exposure till I see the zebras. From there, I will drop my exposure down by 0.3 to 0.7 stops. HLG 3 has a maximum output potential of 100. Therefore, I'll put my zebra levels at 99 and apply the same steps as before. S-Log 2 has a maximum output level of 106. So to prevent my highlights from blowing out, I'll set my zebra levels at 104 and stop down when I see the black and white lines appear. Now, I'll share with you the customized settings I use for each picture profile. For the S-Log 2, I saw many YouTubers suggesting bumping up the saturation in camera. I wanted to know if there was a difference if I did it in camera or in post. From my test, I found that it doesn't make much of a difference, so I decided to bump my saturation up in camera by 25. We have come to an end of this video, and it was really tough trying to pick out a picture profile that I really like because they all have its own merits and all of them perform really well. So for now, I think I'm going to switch from Cine 4 to HLG 3 as it seems to be the more versatile picture profile. And I'm going to test that out to see how it goes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That's all for today. It's a wrap.